For what purpose do you rise, sir?
I'd ask the author a question.
Happy to yield, Senator Ogden.
Senator Wentworth, this is a powerful bill, and I appreciate you bringing it to the Senate floor because I think it deserves debate, and I think it deserves some careful consideration about what you're doing. I did not plan to run for re-election, but I did, and it was probably one of the most significant issues of discussion in my campaign. And so I think it's good that this bill's on the floor. And I think it's good about the way that senators have asked you questions and said, have we really thought about that? And so I'd like to continue to explore this a little bit. One of the things that I believe, having campaigned across my district and talked to a lot of people, is that the people that I represent that go to Texas A&M University and go to Sam Houston State University and Blinn College, the majority of them oppose your bill. If I had to guess what the majority of my constituents thought, and I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, I'd say it'd be about split 50-50. In fact, maybe the majority of my constituents might agree with you. But the majority of the constituents who are actually on the college campus day in and day out are opposed to your bill. And so I've got a situation here where the people that are for this bill are only on the campus occasionally, if at all. And the people that I represent that are opposed to this bill, I believe, are the ones that are actually going to be the most impacted. And so here's what I want to explore with you. If the contention of this bill is that this bill will somehow make it safer to be on a college campus, I'm not sure that contention can survive scrutiny. And let me begin with this point. The overwhelming majority, I believe, of people that are on the campus at Texas A&M University cannot even get a concealed handgun license. They're either undergraduates or they are not eligible for some other reason. I was asking a question on the floor a minute ago. Do you have to be a United States citizen to get a concealed handgun license?
In Texas, you do, yes.
Well, we've got thousands of foreign nationals on the campus at Texas A&M University who are over 21, but they're not eligible either.
Let me maybe correct that. You have to be a legal resident.
Okay.
I'm not positive that you have to also be a United States citizen, but you have to be a legal resident.
I'm not super positive, but I think citizenship is an issue, and I'm not suggesting that, and I really don't know. I don't know, but I believe that there's very few foreign nationals who either can or have a concealed handgun license in Texas. But there's a lot of them on our campuses. And so basically, the subset of people that are eligible for even consideration of a concealed handgun license is relatively small. Do you agree with that?
I think that probably is correct.
And in that subset, do you have any idea of what percentage of college professors or what percentage of college workers have a concealed handgun license now?
I do not, and DPS doesn't keep that kind of data.
Would you even want to hazard a guess? Do you think it's a lot?
I wouldn't guess. I've had college professors on both sides of this issue contact me, and both very strongly opinionated one way or the other.
What percentage of the adult 21 age population in Texas has a concealed handgun license?
I'm not sure about the 21 and over, but of the 25.1 million people in Texas, less than 2% have the licenses.
So if you will allow me, then let's guess that only 2% of the people that are over 21 would even have a concealed handgun license to be carried on a campus at Texas A&M. Would that be fair?
Well, probably because the population of birth to 21 is significant. It's probably closer to 3%.
All right, take 3. If you do the numbers, I'm going to speculate that on a campus like Texas A&M University with approximately 50,000 students and 25,000 employees, no more than 1% would have a concealed handgun license out of 75,000 people. And that would be 750. Okay? There is no way, in my opinion, to argue that the campus itself would somehow be safer if such a small percentage of people were even allowed to carry a concealed handgun license. It's kind of like random. I mean, how could you argue that the campus could be safer when less than 1% of the people on that campus would even carry a concealed handgun?
I can argue that pretty effectively, I think. These suicidal, deranged people that go on campuses or anywhere else for that matter with the intention of committing suicide but taking as many innocent people with them as they can, I believe, although deranged, they're not totally stupid. And I think gun-free zones attract them like magnets because they know that they can kill more people in those locations because they won't be opposed. They're vulnerable sitting ducks for them. And while you're probably right about the very small number of actual concealed licensees, it puts doubt in the mind of that deranged suicidal person. And it's my hope and prayer that just knowing that schools are no longer gun-free zones, they'll be less attracted to it. Even though you're probably right, you may go into one classroom where there's one licensee or maybe two, and you may go to the classroom next door and there are none. So there's no way to know for sure, and because by law they're required to be concealed, we don't know and won't know how many people are actually there.
I think it is a leap of logic to say if somebody's deranged, they'll be logical about the risk to them being harmed by a concealed handgun. I mean, they're either deranged or they're not. I don't see how you can be selective and say deranged people are logical about this, but everything else they're crazy.
Well, they're pretty logical about getting armed and getting the right ammunition and getting 2 or 3 weapons. They've planned this, and I think in the calculation of that planning, they try to figure out where they can do the most damage, and they know gun-free zones are victim-rich, potentially.
Well, we may not be able, in fact, we won't resolve the debate. But what I'm saying is that, at least in my opinion, the safety of the campus cannot be measurably improved by allowing such a small percentage of people to carry a concealed handgun on campus. And if that's my position, then the only other thing I need to consider is, well, what about the individual's right? I mean, doesn't an individual, regardless of what you say about society, doesn't an individual have a right to self-protection? And is it right to deny any individual that right? And generally the answer would be no. Except in your bill, you deny lots of people that right. I mean, this bill is inconsistent. It's inconsistent in the sense that the overwhelming majority of the people on this campus do not have the legal right to protect themselves with a concealed handgun. And it's inconsistent in the way we treat some universities but not others. And so if the argument is that we need to protect individual liberty, how can this bill meet that standard when you have exempted so many people from the right to exercise their individual liberty?
Well, Senator, as you know, I'm not doing that in this bill. We all did that when we passed the original bill 15 years ago. We said you've got to be 21. There's a whole litany of things that I read earlier that you have to do or cannot do in order to be licensed. So we've already done that. I'm just trying to expand this right that we gave 15 years ago in college campus buildings.
Well, at least from where I'm standpoint, I'm opposed to your bill at this point because I do not believe that you can argue persuasively that a college campus will be safer if this law is passed versus its current situation. I don't think the facts are there to support that. And if the argument is this is a matter of individual liberty, then I oppose your bill because you exempt so many people from that right. What about...
But, Senator, I'm expanding that right.
Well, but...
I'm not limiting that right. I'm expanding it to college campus buildings. That's all this bill really does.
Okay.
The limitations already exist.
And I think the limitations are a serious flaw in the bill. I mean, either everybody's got a right to self-defense or to a certain extent, only a few.
Well,
and if you give those people that right, you're saying, well, it's going to make the campus safer, or it's already unsafe, and so this small percentage have to. I don't think the facts support basically the suppositions that are being made to advance this bill, at least in my opinion. One other question, and I'll sit down. How come you don't have public schools in here? I mean, why aren't high schools? Why aren't you authorized to carry a concealed handgun at a high school if it's a good idea at a college? What's the difference?
I guess it was mainly because I was addressing the situation at Virginia Tech.
But we have many examples of deranged individuals that are entering high schools with handguns, killing fellow students. In fact, we have more examples of that. I mean, in fact, it happens with some frequency where students bring a gun to school and kill themselves and occasionally affect others. I mean, it's unfortunately and tragically, it's more common than the Virginia Tech example. So if you're trying to fix the problem, why would you not include high schools in this?
Well, Senator, in the example you've just given, the high school kids that are bringing weapons to school and killing other students are already violating the law. This bill